Hello, and welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now.
Today we are bringing you a Regift, a replay of our episode from December 16th, 2016 on holiday traditions and wistful wishes.
In this episode, we discuss holiday traditions, list some things we wish we could put on a wish list, share some stuff we love on the Roundabout Roundup, have a chat with Robert Rummel-Hudson, and do some shameless self-promotion.
And we'll have a new round 2 and speed round episodes for you the rest of this week, and then we'll be back on Monday, January 1st with a new group chat.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It feels ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh yeah, no.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So I have an update to something that we talked about months ago on the podcast.
Yeah?
Do you remember when my son tried to learn how to luge?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember how ill-advised that sounded even back then.
Well, if it sounded ill-advised when he was on a sled with wheels on a hill,
Yeah.
a gentle slope here in the rather flat state where we live. Now he's going to go and do it on an ice track at the Olympic Training Center.
Oh my gosh.
Really? Wow.
How exciting for him and terrifying for you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had done this sort of a screening thing in the summer. And it was to, introduce kids to the sport and kind of find out if it's something that they might want to do or that they had any aptitude for.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he had enough aptitude that they want him to come. There's a next step, which is to go to an actual ice track and try it there.
Wow.
And see
That's
how he
cool.
does. So we're
Wow.
going to do that.
How are you feeling about it, Mom?
It's wild, but he's so proud of himself
Yeah, I'll
for
bet.
making it to this step. So we're gonna follow it through and see what happens.
Now, is this something that theoretically one day leads to the Olympics, or it's just
very theoretically. I mean, it's not like the kind of sport that you can just play anywhere.
high
I think
school
there's-
luging or anything like that?
Yeah, although I will say that our high school has a nice fishing team.
No.
But-
Are you
Go
serious?
team.
yeah, no, for real, they do.
How did they score that? Is it like whoever gets the most fish,
It's
or
like the most fish or the biggest
Fishing
fish
derby?
or the most different kinds of fish. I don't know.
That's unreal.
Yeah, but for luge, there's only 2 places in the country that you can do it, so it's not like a frequently competed event. But we'll find out more in a few weeks.
Yeah, and
That's
how nice
awesome.
that it comes up right at this time of year when there's really not much going on.
Mhm. Nothing at all. Yeah, exactly.
We feel like you need just that extra dollop of stress to make it from here to Christmas. So
Right.
we're going to send your
Well,
kid
while he's-
sliding
while
down a
he's-
hill.
While he's hurtling down the track, I'll just be holed up in a hotel room working. So
Yes,
Wow.
probably best that you not watch.
yeah.
I know whenever those are on the Olympics, it's like I have to look
I know,
away.
you
It
kinda
just
have to
seems
look
like such a
away.
bad idea.
Yeah.
But now, is this like
Here.
are there 2 people in a luge? How is the luge work? Or is it a single person? I know there's so many different permutations of these things.
Yeah, I know they're single. There possibly might be a double one. I'm not even sure. That's something else we'll have to look into.
And he has to like push it and then jump in it? Is that right?
No, that's bobsled. I
Okay.
believe they start.
Oh, yeah, they start lying down, don't
They
they?
start
They
laying
start-
down,
So they
So-
just
Yeah.
put you on something lying down and they shove you down the hill.
and then they push you downhill. That's pretty much how they did it at the.
Actually, probably one of the few sports in which I could excel. I don't have to do anything but just allow gravity to hurl me to my death. I would
You
do
have
fine.
to steer with your feet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very,
okay.
very.
I would probably be too busy closing my eyes and screaming
And
to do that
freaking.
well. So another sport, not for me.
Not
We're
for
going to
you.
need pictures, Catherine. You're
Absolutely.
going to have pictures of this. This is so exciting.
It is very exciting, yes. All jokes aside, good for him. And
Yeah.
wow, that's a big deal.
He's excited.
Yeah.
So, with that news, we'll say welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Catherine Haleko, luge mom, and with me today are Nicole Eridix,
Hello.
lizard mom,
Lizard mom.
and Terri Morrow.
I guess I'm bowling mom.
That's right, bowling mom. So today on the podcast, we're going to discuss holiday wishes on our speed round. We're going to shout out some stuff we like on the Roundabout Roundup. We'll hear an interview with Robert Rummel-Hudson, and we'll do some shameless self-promotion. But first, we are going to talk about holiday traditions because 'tis the season.
Yes, and I feel like I'm behind this year because we got our tree up a couple days ago. So, but I saw so many people who had trees up at Thanksgiving, so I feel very behind.
Well, that's
in
just
the,
wrong.
I feel
Still ahead of me.
getting the tree up.
Way ahead of me. Weeks ahead of me.
Okay. Good. Because, and some people even have like a tradition around putting up the tree, whether it's, like a family activity after Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know. I don't have one, but there's so many other traditions that one can have, and I'm starting to get anxious thinking about having to do all that.
Exactly.
To keep up the tradition. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. Do you guys have any Christmas traditions, holiday traditions, Hanukkah traditions at this time of year, or things that you did when their kids were little, or anything that you carried over from your own childhood? Let's talk traditions and find out what's happening in your house at this time of year. Terri, what have you got going on?
Well, in terms of decorating traditions, I think we talked last week with our holiday decorating that I don't do much of it. But what we do to the accompaniment of the John Denver and the Muppets Christmas album.
Oh,
I
cool.
cherish.
Nice.
That is my Christmas, get in the mood for Christmas album, and I can now listen to it on my phone instead of having to bring out the record. But I still love it. It says Christmas to me. And
Right.
I also have a long-standing tradition, which I think I've mentioned on this podcast before, of watching Love Actually on Christmas Eve as I wrap presents at the extreme last minute.
Yeah.
So I plan to be doing that again this year. I hope it's on Netflix. And other than that, my big holiday tradition is to bake, which I am now realizing after we did a speed round this week about my signature dish that I have not made any snickerdoodles or ginger snaps or pumpkin bread this season, and I'm not sure I'm gonna.
I was
I'm
going to
feeling
say,
kinda
don't you want
lazy.
to?
I want to eat them.
Since we've talked about it.
I do not so much want to take the time to go and make them. Especially since I'm working so much, and I know if I go and say, you know what, I'm going to take some time off and go bake cookies, my husband's going to say, stop, go back to work. I want you to sleep, not make cookies.
Right.
I'll go to the store and buy some, which is not the same. But I might try to find a little time in there because I want me some snickerdoodles.
Yeah.
What about you, Catherine? Is snickerdoodle baking on your list of holiday traditions?
Sometimes we bake. I do, like Terri, I love to eat them, and I mentioned on our speed round a couple of kinds of cookies that I'd love to be able to eat. If I got around to making them, that'd be even better. And we also have a soundtrack, and it is the Bing Crosby Christmas album,
Oh.
because that is the one that we listened to when I was a kid when we decorated the tree.
Yeah.
So I always just insist on playing that. I love lots of Christmas music. I love, I think there's like 3 Harry Connick Jr. Christmas albums. There's many, and they are very good. So I love listening to Christmas music, and I always have to have Bing when I'm decorating the tree, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I was trying to, my kids are older now, so, well, like yours, Terry, so I have kind of scaled back some of the traditions we did when they were younger, like the leaving the cookie for the Santa
Oh, yeah.
treat. But yeah, I think what do we give out, or the kids can open one present on Christmas Eve. We do that.
We do that one too.
Yeah.
And if my mom is here, that's because the presents aren't wrapped at your house, right?
That's true. Yes, that would be a problem.
The thing is, if my mom is here, she's always like, well, maybe they could open one more. She always wants the kids. She's like enabler. She always tries to get the kid. And the rest of us, including my brother and sister, if they're here, they're like, no, that's not allowed, Mom. You can't do that.
Well, also, as your kids get older, they get fewer presents, at least in my house. So it's not quite so dramatic. It's like, here, I'll split your gift cards into 2 packages. You can open one tonight and one tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing that, and actually ours is from a carryover from my husband's Christmas traditions, because he grew up celebrating Christmas on Christmas Eve, not on Christmas morning. So
same with my husband.
We had relatives who did
European
that.
thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then we always have a puzzle. I always buy a puzzle.
Oh, cool.
Because,
that's fun.
Yeah, it gets the kids off of their electronics,
and
I force them to do the puzzle with us.
That is a good idea. I wonder if my kids would do one.
Yeah, it gets us all around the table, and all sorts of fun conversations come up, and we just kind of leave it out for a couple days and gradually work on it and then finish it.
Fun.
Yeah, so that's kind of
good one.
One of ours. What else? We usually go out for Christmas dinner, though. We don't usually stay in. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, I feel like we had a lot more when the kids were younger.
Yeah.
than
we have in our town, there's a Christmas tradition, which even though my kids are kind of outgrowing, it's still a little bit exciting when the Santa float comes.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a fire truck that's got all lights on it, and the firefighter, somebody playing Santa, and they literally map out every single street in the two towns where the fire station serves, and they drive by. And when the kids are really little, it's coming, the Santa float is coming, and you have to like really quickly put boots on and coats on and run outside so you can wave to Santa. So we don't really do that anymore, but it's still, I think they still love it.
It's still cool when you hear it go by. We have that in our community also.
It's so cute.
That is cute. Are there any traditions that your kids used to have, or you had at one point and not so much anymore, but they still want, or that they've heard their friends do and they want to try it out or start it? Has anything like that come up for you at all?
Well, for us, that's Saint Nick, the visit from Saint Nicholas. That comes on the night of December 5th, which is a thing that they do here in Wisconsin, which I had never done when I was growing up. Right. But when my daughter was in kindergarten, her teacher played Saint Nick for the entire class, because they had extra shoes that they kept at school. And so she put gifts in every shoe.
Oh.
So then all of a sudden we had to start doing Saint Nick. Because other, kids were talking about it at school. What'd you get? So then it became a thing. And so now we still do it. So every December 5th at like 9 p.m., you will find me at Walgreens checking out the offerings, because I am always buying my...
You're filling shoes?
Yeah, I'm always filling shoes at that hour.
That's cool. That's a neat story. How about you, Terri? What, anything that your kids...
I can't think of anything, but I know that... when my kids were littler and their grandparents were alive and my husband's brother and sister lived close enough by that we would all get together, I'm pretty sure we would get together on Christmas Eve and we'd get together on Christmas Day, and it was a whole huge family thing. years go by, people pass, people move. We don't have that anymore. We don't have quite as much family stuff. And I think my kids, my daughter especially, misses that.
Yeah.
Me, not so much. You know, it's nice not to have to clean your house, not to have to worry about the family coming over. There was always some tension between somebody. You know, the adults tune in on that stuff much more. For kids, it's just, there's presents and there's food and there's all the people I love in the same place.
Yeah.
So I think are more nostalgic than that than I am.
We're going to be introducing a new tradition this year, actually, that is not at the request of my kids, but is actually because my son's girlfriend, it's her birthday on Christmas Day. So we are going to introduce the whole birthday Christmas Day thing.
Wow.
And I'm not sure how to do that. So if anybody out there has a birthday on Christmas Day, please drop us a note and tell us how it's done.
Well, my niece's birthday is a few days after. And I'm always super conscious about making sure she gets, 2 presents.
Yeah.
And that the birthday one is wrapped in birthday paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have heard from Christmas babies that they really are like, can you at least bother to get some other wrapping paper?
Yes.
That's the only thing I know.
Okay. That's a good tip.
A lot of my husband's family is right around Christmas. I think his mother's birthday was like right after Christmas. And then they have 2 or 3 of them have birthdays in January. And it's like, so you have to, when you're doing presents, you have to think not just of Christmas stuff, but you have to come up with 2 for every person.
Yeah.
And that's really a pain. It's hard enough, getting my husband to tell me what he wants for Christmas, but then you have to tell me something else you want for your birthday, honey. And not only did I have to think of presents for my in-laws for Christmas, I had to come up with other things. I had to come up with, of course, because that's my job. So, it's like, could you just put your birthday off for 6 months? Let's put a little space. I know it must be a pain to be right. Let's just space it out. No.
Yeah, I've got that kind of nailed down. Oh, and on top of the fact that it's her birthday on Christmas Day, this year she turns 21.
Oh, wow.
So it's also a 21st birthday. So yeah, I'm looking for ideas, people.
Well, now wait, this is properly your son's job though, isn't it?
It is. He'll do his own thing, but they're going to be here spending the day with us.
Oh.
So I feel like we need to, recognize.
Yeah, you do.
I would like to,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to have to come up with some ways to make that distinction between birthday and Christmas quite obvious.
Right.
So,
right. You should, pursuant to our last podcast, throw a sheet over the Christmas tree.
That's right. Get like a birthday tablecloth, and put that over the Christmas tree. And suddenly...
Right. Now it's a birthday tree.
Now it's a birthday tree. Whoever has a birthday tree on their birthday.
And if she's 21, you can just, this is the point at which we start drinking.
Yeah, so...
See, you're all set.
Yeah,
we're so helpful.
Thanks. So are you guys excited about it, holiday season? I mean, we've got these traditions to live up to, presents to buy.
I'm trying. I feel like I'm getting there. We're going to go to my parents this year, which we haven't done in a very long time. And so that does kind of take some of the pressure off our household in terms of hosting and decorating and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if I can get a few more gifts for the difficult people, then I'll
I have not even started doing that yet. I am just so far behind. I've just been so busy with other things. I'm not feeling it. And I need to get on that, I guess. When I bought my computer, I got a gift card, which I can then give as a gift, but I haven't gotten stuff for other people. And, my loved ones are not real helpful. My son is going to pick out some keys that he wants for Christmas, but he may pick those out in February at the rate he's going. My husband never needs anything. He just went and bought himself socks and undershirts, which could have been his Christmas present, but no, he just went and bought them. So I'm not getting into it because I don't really know what to. I bought stuff for me, because,
Right.
I want things if other people don't. Maybe I should get my husband things that he can then give to me. Oh,
There you
don't,
go.
You don't want that Hamilton
That's a good
t-shirt,
idea.
honey? I'll take it off your hands.
You don't
That's
want
okay.
that Hamilton t-shirt.
But
funny.
I will say that we have. Oh, here's a question. Here's a holiday tradition question. How many Christmas cards have y'all received in the mail so far? We've got 2.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I have 4.
Wow, you win. I was
Nothing.
resenting the people who had gotten them out already, but you got twice as many. So
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Last year I never got around to it, but I'm gonna do it this year because I like.
dream the big dream,
Receiving.
Catherine.
I like getting
It
them,
could
so,
happen.
I like your lofty goals, Catherine.
Yeah.
We will be expecting our
happen.
cards in the mail. You have our
Yeah.
addresses. This is how
Exactly.
we will know you got it done. Cards in the
All
mail, or
right.
it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Oh.
usually we have a couple by now, but I think
Really?
they're definitely going the wayside.
Slow. Yeah, I feel like we've gotten more than this in the past, but we have 2 beautiful photo cards in the mail so far. And every time I get one, I think, dang, you organized person. You got yours out.
Well, one
I
of
put
mine
them on
is
my
from,
list.
One is from my childless sister-in-law, who is an illustrator. So
Oh.
it's all about the cards for her.
Yes.
You know,
Very
she
nice.
makes her own. So those are always fun to get.
I guess I can say I actually got 3 because in addition to the 2 that came in the mail, I got a very lovely Christmas card of Lin-Manuel Miranda and his family that came with my t-shirt from T. Rico. So
Yeah,
I have that up displayed. I'm going to count that.
definitely.
So, and well, moving on from things that we enjoy to things that we wish we had. Our speed round for this group chat day is going to be our parenting wish lists. I wrote an article. I'm going to do my shameless self-promotion early here and say that I wrote an article for Friendship Circle about some things that parents of kids with special needs wish they could put on an Amazon wish list, like extra hours in the day and a little privacy and an occasional pat on the back and a suit of armor for IEP meetings and reading online comments and things such as this. So it got me thinking, what would you guys like if you could put intangibles on your Christmas list? Not just the t-shirts I want, but a nap. Could I have a nap wrapped up under the tree, please? That would be lovely. Thank you. What would you like
Yeah.
to see, Nicole, if you could wrap up something that you can't actually wrap up?
A set of really, really, really good guaranteed friends. Especially with
Oh,
daughters.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that she's had groups of friends that haven't been so great, but there have been our challenges in the
Yeah.
past. And, I think if you could have like a built-in group of friends for your kids, that would make
be
life a little
nice.
easier.
Oh, I'll switch mine. Can I have that too? Let's just, somebody needs to get on this,
Yes.
Let's see.
How can we
Amazon?
market that?
Amazon sells everything. They're selling groceries
Friends
now.
for
They need
rent.
to have a little friends for
Friends for rent.
friends for rent or sale,
Sale.
If
That's
we
right.
like them, can we have an option to buy if we like them?
Right.
And then we can have,
Please.
different services they offer. Are they
That's
like
right.
going to the movie friends? Are they
Yeah.
coming to the birthday friends?
Yeah.
Are they... Yeah.
That
I
would
think
be
that
awesome.
would alleviate a lot of issues,
Absolutely.
especially in their teen years.
Yeah.
That is a great idea. And I'm sure what every kid wants in their teen years is friends that have been selected and vetted by mom.
Yes. Yes.
That's what every teen girl dreams.
Yes. And friends who are always available
Yes.
when you want them around.
Yes.
So,
Never pairing off behind your back and
yeah,
doing things without you.
no gossiping.
This is quickly taking a turn. I'm having flashbacks. Catherine, what would you want under the tree?
Well, in addition to pretty much everything that is on your friendship circle list,
Yes.
except for the coffee, because I don't drink
That's
coffee.
true.
All of those things, and then I would like the ability to know the outcome of a decision I'm making.
Yes.
of that all of the
Yes.
decisions, not just one.
Before it's
That would be
final.
Right. To know, okay, if this, then that,
Yeah.
for everything that you're doing, so that you know that
Mhm.
you're making the right choice.
Oh,
Mhm.
definitely.
That's great.
put that on my list too.
Yeah, add that
would be
one.
Awesome.
So we have lots of good ideas.
Yes, there you go. So ask for the things we've just suggested. See how far you get. And check out my article for other possibilities with whimsical selections from Amazon accompanying them. So perhaps you can use that to give people a hint. So that is it for our Friday speed round. And remember that you can hear a new speed round every Monday through Thursday.
So now we're going to bring you some of the things we've read or seen or used recently that we want to shout out and share with you. Nicole, what do you have for us?
I wanted to recommend something that I use quite a bit on my phone, and that is my Panera Bread app. Does anybody ever use the Panera Bread app?
I do not, but how interesting that there is one. What can you do with it? Does it make you a sandwich and bring it to your house?
Well, I'm
Almost.
sure that will be the next step, because you can order from your phone, and then they will have it ready and waiting for you to just pick up and take away. And you can even go in and sit down and order from your phone, and they'll bring it to your table if you decide to stay in. Yeah,
that is good to know.
Cool.
I will do that next time. That's awesome.
I love it. We use it repeatedly.
Yeah. We order pizza online all the time. I love being able to make your exact configuration of pizza without having to tell some teenager what you want where, and then they repeat it back and it's wrong. Is you can say, I want this on this half, I want that on that half, I want this kind of sauce, I want this kind of cheese, and that's what you get. It's awesome. So I imagine it's the very same for Panera. All the permutations.
Anything that has to do with online ordering of food, I'm there.
We are in favor.
Yeah.
And how about you, Terri? What did you want to share?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this on our round 2 before, but I don't know if I've mentioned it in the roundup. So I'm going to shout out Apple Music, which I've been using for probably over a year now and really, really enjoying for things like being able to listen to my Muppets Christmas album on my phone without having to drag out a record player, and being able to, when we're sitting around the dinner table and a song comes up, look it up immediately and play it. That has been both useful and good for annoying the children. So that's, you gotta love that. It's really been fun having pretty much any music I want to listen to available to me at any time, and to be able to say the name of an artist and search for a name of an artist and be able to listen to all that person's music. If I hear about a new album, I can listen to it right away, all sorts of things like that. It's really been good for somebody who does not really want to be buying lots of songs and putting them on her device. I do not miss having the physical thing. I just like access to everything all the time, exactly what I want to listen to at any given time. So if you've been looking at Apple Music and wondering if it would be for you, it's been for me. Maybe it'll be for you too.
Good.
And along those lines, I wanted to mention something similar, which is the fact that you can now download things from Netflix.
Yeah.
Which is just awesome, because for me, I think I see it as helpful to parents in a lot of ways, because you can, if you're going on a car trip with your kid or a plane trip or whatever, you could download things that they want to listen to and not have to worry about having Wi-Fi. I used it for that purpose when I went on one of my endlessly long bus trips with my daughter.
Yeah, how was that, Catherine?
I watched 6 episodes of The Crown on the bus.
Wow.
So that was great. You could use it to, if you're going to the gym and you wanted to take your shows or a movie with you, and you didn't, you can't depend on the gym Wi-Fi, you could download. So it's really helpful. And I found that it's pretty quick to get your stuff onto your device, and it doesn't take up a huge ton of space.
Oh, that's great.
Because those were the 2 concerns that I had about it. And they were not.
Very nice.
Wasn't a problem. So recommended.
I should mention that you also can do that with Apple Music. You can download things and then have them on your device. But if you stop paying the $9.99 a month, they disappear. As I'm sure is the same with Netflix.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so those are our roundups for this week. And Terri, I think you have an interview.
I do. As we do once a month, we talk with Robert Rummel-Hudson about what's going on with parenting kids with special needs. Let's hear what he had to talk about this month. So, Rob, what's on your mind today to talk about here?
I've been thinking a lot lately about protest, and and you turn on the news, and obviously there's a lot of it, and there's and it doesn't feel like it's going to go away anytime soon. And I feel the same kind of fatigue, sort of protest fatigue. I think a lot of people do. And not just like current events or politics or whatever, but also from an advocacy standpoint. And I realize that those are connected for a lot of people, or for most of them. But it's very easy to feel like, oh my God, I'm protesting. I'm being very public and very, and being very public and very out front and not necessarily polite about it. And that's been such a part of disability advocacy, I think, for everybody that I've known. Even if they're not comfortable with it, at some point there's this, you reach this point where you feel like, well, I have to say something. You're on Facebook and somebody throws the R word out.
Yeah.
And if it's a stranger, it's real easy to be like, "Rah, what are you doing?" But if, what about when it's a friend or a family member, and that protest has to be couched in terms of, well, I'm really upset about this, but I'm also going to see you at Thanksgiving in 4 weeks. And, you remember what happened last year. We're not going to do that again. So, so I've been thinking a little bit about the value of protest and what that protest accomplishes and what we want it to accomplish. And it's hard, because I think it's hard sometimes to see what protest can accomplish, because protesting is a very straightforward, very easy thing to do. Not easy, but it is very straightforward. It's very black and white. And when the things that you accomplish, when you go into an IEP meeting and you are very, you're standing up for your kid, and you're standing up for your right to have a place at the table, and for your kid to have a right to the place at the table. When you get that place, a lot of times I think it can be like a little bit like the dog catching the car. You're like, oh crap, here I am. What do I do now? Yeah. And I think whether it's the outward protest or the sort of quiet protest, there's a little bit of that too. I think for me, and this has been something that I've noticed more in the past few months, maybe the past year or so than before. The big question for me was, how much does she actually appreciate and encourage that kind of protest? And I think when she was younger and she was a little bit more concerned about fitting in and less concerned about how her disability sort of affects that journey for her. Yeah. I think there was a certain amount of, okay, I get it. You can stop. Everyone's looking at us. What are you doing? But as she's gotten older, and I think this started last year with, I think it was it? Yeah, I guess it was last year. It's been about a year. When we got sort of involved in a protest involving a comedian.
Gary Owen.
Gary Owen. And I didn't do the little white spit there, so we'll consider that some progress.
Hey.
And when I had explained to her what I was, because when I write now, I tell Schuyler what I'm writing about. It's been that way for a couple of years, just because I feel better if she knows what I'm talking about, because it's always about her. And the older she gets, the more agency she gets kind of over her story, and meaningful agency as far as like how she can help shape that dialogue. So when we stepped up on the Gary Owen thing, she actually asked if she could make a video. She crafted this very careful statement on her iPad. Took a while. It was not a quick statement. But she worked really hard on it. And we made a video where she made this statement on her iPad. And it was very moving to me to hear anger come out of her, and anger at somebody whom she perceived as impeding her and impeding people like her. And I thought, this is fantastic. And it's, she's taking something, a negative experience and maybe a negative emotion, and she's channeling it in a way that it is absolutely appropriate. Which is hard. I think that's hard for anybody. That's not even a product of her disability. It's just hard for anybody to, it's easier to rant and break things, go on Facebook and get a bunch of people to unfriend you. And it's that's easy. That's easy protest.
Yeah.
So here lately, I've noticed that not just protest, but even just acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
The disorder that she has is enough of a rare disorder that, it's very unusual for us to meet somebody else who even knows what it is, much less has it in their family. So when the group that sort of does the advocacy for polymicrogyria put together like T-shirts and a sticker for your car, which is a huge sticker, by the way. I'm a little buyer's remorse every time I go out to the car. And this little pin, this little ribbon pin. When they started to come out with these things, and as the dutiful advocate, I purchased one of everything.
Sure.
I noticed that anytime I would wear them, Schuyler would mention it, and she would thank me. And I thought, wow, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy way to give her this moment of validation. And the fact that it was so easy made me think, what are the things that she's been missing in her life where she feels that invisible, that me putting on this pen, and here's my little, it's not really a secret, but here's the thing I can report about that pen. Ever since the first day I put it on and the first time she like really reacted, I have literally worn that pen every single day. I'm wearing it right now. If I'm bumming around, it's stuck on my hat. If I'm at work, it's on the pocket of my shirt. I mean, I always wear it, and people ask about it, and so it's sort of fulfilled that role as an advocacy piece. But honestly, it's just when Schuyler notices it and this sort of gratitude that she feels, and it makes me feel like demonstrating. And there's a T-shirt that's the same way, and so it makes me feel like when we do step up and protest, when we do step up and get loud about something, or when we make statements about something, or we write about things, there are, I think, the sort of intended consequences of that. When we protested Gary Owen, he eventually met with some advocates and, made some noises that sounded kind of in the right direction. And obviously I was deeply convinced by his actions, but there was movement in the right direction, and there wouldn't have been without all the protests. And there was a lot of protests that went on for a really long time.
I remember that.
But the thing that I got out of that protest was that Schuyler saw me stand up and say, that's awful. And then she had the opportunity to say, yeah, that's awful, and here's why.
That's great.
And so I guess I've kind of turned around. I'm not like rejuvenated. I'm not making a sign and I'm gonna go out in the street and start yelling at people. But maybe I will. Maybe that's an option. And it's because I feel a little bit rejuvenated because I see the sort of small effects that has on Schuyler.
Yeah.
She's in some vulnerable populations now, and she's concerned about that. And I, what can I do to affect a big picture, and what can I do to affect that small picture in her life?
Yeah.
Which is, of course, the biggest picture there is for me and for her.
Right. And certainly inspiring her to advocate on her own behalf. That's great. Inspiring her to get angry about things and respond to things. That's not something I've had any success on. Mostly I just get angry about things, and then I'm just angry about everything, and my family just wishes I would cut it out.
Well, yeah. And I bet there's a huge chunk of Facebook that's like, oh my God, would you shut up about this?
Yeah. Just once you get yourself worked up enough to express your righteous indignation, it's hard to turn that dial back down. And just,
especially
screaming at everybody.
And this is especially true with, I think, disability issues. It's hard to turn that back down when it's being fed.
Yes, that
you go on Facebook or you go on the news, and there's a story about, a public school that did this horrible thing to a kid with a disability, and here's a policeman who did a terrible thing to somebody because he didn't know what was going on. And there was one the other day about a young man with autism who who died on a bus from being restrained. And it's just all these, it's like this constant thing. So it's almost like you can't come down from it. And on one hand, it's really easy to be like, oh my God, I'm just going to post about Pokemon today because first of all, that's all Schuyler and I do is play Pokemon. But it's just like, I can post a picture of Pikachu, or I can post an article that's going to get people in that same awful place.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really feel like, and I think this is what feeds the protest in maybe a way that's not negative. I don't know if it's positive, but it just kind of is. I feel like, where do I stop? What's the issue? What's the story that I feel like, that's bad, but that's not bad enough for me to say something about? That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to say, okay, I've said enough about this. So now this person or this community has suffered, but this time I'm going to not say anything.
Yeah.
And so it feels like, okay, maybe it's not so much about feeding it as it is about just keeping that light shining. I don't know. It's actually something I don't have the answer to, because I do feel like, I'm very helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Because I do kind of go back and forth. There are days I feel like I'm not going to post another. Well, here's the thing that we're all going to get mad about today.
Yeah.
And then other days I'm like, oh my God, if I don't say something, then this goes unanswered, as if I'm the only person in the world who is charged with doing this. I feel maybe the disability community is strong enough, and maybe it's finally coalescing enough. I won't say uniting, because we all know that that's not probably going to happen anytime soon. But at least we're all looking in the same direction enough that, I don't know, we can ease up a little bit. But I just, even as soon as I say that, I think, oh yeah, that's what you need to do, ease up, so that all these terrible things can keep happening.
Boy, that's a lot of responsibility to put on yourself. That if you're not posting it on Facebook, these terrible things are going to keep happening. I know.
It's all because of me. Well, and I feel like I'm in a position, and maybe this is arrogant or whatever. I feel like because I got a platform, because I published a book and got attention and held on to that attention, sometimes I do feel a little bit of responsibility to use that in a way, because I'm not any different from any other parent who's had a kid with a disability and has worked through all the things that I've worked through. The only thing that's different is I wrote about it.
Yeah.
Anyone else could have written about it. I could think off the top of my head of probably half a dozen people who could have written better books than I did. I can think of several people who did.
Your book was pretty good, Rob. I don't know.
Well,
I appreciated it a lot.
Thank you. I feel like because in my mind, I sort of stumbled onto that platform. I ended up with a good publisher that could have very easily have gone. Anyone who's done any publishing knows that there is a bit of a crapshoot as far as getting your material in front of the right person, and it gets to the right place, and the market's doing this or that at whatever point in the process. But sometimes I feel like, because I kind of stumbled onto that platform and haven't destroyed it or neglected it, that sometimes I feel like, on one hand, I feel a little bit of responsibility to push, to kind of push the protest side of the advocacy.
Right.
And this is something that I need to take more seriously, and maybe we all do. In fact, I'm pretty sure we all need to take more responsibility in vetting the materials that get put out.
Yes.
There have been a couple of times I've inadvertently been one of those fake news, brokers.
Yeah.
I put something out, and then it's like, oh, wait, you know what? That was actually either that wasn't entirely true, or, oh, I didn't look at the date. That was 2004.
Yeah. It's so easy to get furious about things. And a lot of times I see people getting mad, and I think, I can think of ways where that story is not so terrible. I would want to know a lot more about it before I got mad. Yeah. But it's so easy. The protest on social media is a whole thing. It's so easy to get so many people so angry about something so quickly without really very much behind it. And you get into this situation where you and everybody you know is protesting about the same thing, and it's inconceivable that it doesn't then stop. Because we've all agreed. Look,
because nothing changed.
4,000 Twitter followers all agree with me on this. And yet the vetting is a very good piece of it that I think we all could do a better job on.
And I think what we're seeing in current events is that, in the past we've been like, oh, people are posting about what they had for breakfast on social media, or
those were the days.
Pictures of Pikachu or whatever. And these aren't things that really matter. And now what we've seen, we're starting to get even more evidence, is that sort of avalanche of sharing makes a difference and can make real changes in voting patterns and in policy making, and it's a little scary. Like, part of me is like, well, good, we're making a difference. But then I think, that's good when it's that hammer hurts just as much hitting the guilty as it does the innocent, and I feel more sort of responsibility than ever to get that right. And yet when you're in the moment, you're just, this makes me mad. I'm going to share it with everybody.
Easy to do.
Yeah, and then 2 days later, whoever it was that was involved is like, that wasn't true, and I just lost my job. And that's a thing that happens, and you just kind of fall into it.
Yes.
And I think that's an example I guess I want to leave for Schuyler as well. How to do things in the right way. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress.
Well, this is a really interesting topic, and I would like to talk more with you about it at a time of year when I have more energy. But in the meantime, we'll leave it at that for now and think on that some more, as all the listeners will too, I hope. And thanks again for talking to us, and we look forward to talking to you again next month in 2017.
Oh my God.
It's coming.
I know. I feel it sneaking up on me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always fun talking with Rob, and we'll look forward to talking with him again in January.
Now, for our final segment today, we're going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some of the things on our sites that we think you should take a look at. Let's hear from you, Catherine.
Sure. I just wanted to mention on Very Well, I have some holiday party themed active games for kids. So if you've got a house full of kids coming over for a celebration, or you're going somewhere with your kids, these are some options for games you can all play together.
Cool.
How about you, Terri? What have you got?
Well, I already did my shameless self-promotion back in our speed round, where I talked about my parenting wish list on friendshipcircle.org/blog. But you may want to go take a look there. I've probably written something else between when we're recording this and when it's dropping. So go see what's there and enjoy.
Excellent. And if you're looking for a great resource book to give your child's teacher, or if you are an educator yourself, over on the Inclusive Class, my website, I have 4 different books that are published by Brooks Publishing, and they are books on how to include children in the school in different aspects of school life. So speech and language, occupational, principles, handbook for inclusive schools. So yeah, go check it out on theinclusiveclass.com.
Sounds good.
And
Okay.
enter for free. It's a free giveaway.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on parentingroundabout.com or download it from iTunes and a bunch of other podcast providers. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts every week. You can also follow us on Twitter. I am About Family Fit. Nicole is Nicole Eridix, and Terri is Momitude. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat, and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too. Best of all, stop by our blog at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on all the stories we mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Moran for providing our in and out music, and I wish everyone a great week.